Hey, Linda and Linda. How are you guys this evening? Um, did you vote? And that's all I'm going to ask. Did you? How you guys doing? Jean, hi. Can we believe the warm weather out in New York? Well, yeah, it was that way here yesterday. Today it is, no, yesterday, day before yesterday, the last 2 days, it's been doing nothing but rain, 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 rain. Jean, good to see you. Jan, hello. Ready for some new inspiration? Oh my gosh, I hope so, Jan. I really do. April's here from Columbus, Ohio. Hi, April. Nice to see you. I'm gonna let you guys in on just a little secret here. Hi, Patsy, watching from New Mexico. Debbie's here from Cactus Deb. Yeah, that's Ken's name for you, Deb. Cactus Deb. And Regina, hi. I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm a little nervous about tonight. I've never really taught how to use these before, and so I hope I'm able to give you good advice and hopefully it will help you a lot, right? Diane's here from Queensland, and in Queensland, it is springtime. Charlene is here from Colorado. Kathy, hi, nice cool day in Texas for you. Donna's here from Massachusetts, and Judith from Pittsburgh. Lois, you need the rain. You can have some of ours. My goodness, it hasn't stopped for 2 days. Oh, Tammy's from New Brunswick, Canada, and Tammy is from Tennessee. Carla's here, Marcia's here. Oh, wonderful. Well, let's go ahead and get started talking about these. First thing we'll talk about is the Sew Steady helpers, I call them. Okay, they are my arms when my arms don't don't go that far. Hi, Millie from New Jersey, and hi, Wanda from across town. Awesome. Okay, so here is our suspension system. Ken says I'm not in frame. Okay, I'm kind of working different here because I know I'm not. There we go. How's that? Okay, so this is a suspension system. Let me show you the parts of it. This is the part that screws to the table right here. Okay, and this goes up and down for different sizes of tables. Now, my table is a homemade table. It's quite hefty. And show it to you guys here. And I have absolutely no problem getting the suspension system on there and getting it to hold. Okay, that's not an issue for me. Oops. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay, I've got too many things I need to tighten. Okay, Joyce from North Carolina. Okay. Oh, that's fun. Millie Lyons. I got in a quilt show and I love it. Oh, good, good. And Norma is here from Illinois. So nice to see you all. So, what we can do is, and what I'm going to do tonight is, I'm going to put the suspension system right on the edge of my table. And you'll see I have the one in back already on. Ken said, which table? I guess I'm not being specific enough. I'm going to put it on my Sew Steady table. Okay. And that's perfectly okay. And you can do that. And there we go. Now, I want to talk about these. When I got my set um, of suspensions, the suspension system, they did not at that time have any stable tape or anything on the rolls. So what I did was I went to my local drugstore and bought a roll of this. This is that fancy bandage that they give you at the doctor's when you take your blood and it doesn't need any tape. It's kinda like an ace bandage, yeah. So what I did was I went ahead and I rolled that onto my tube, and it gives me a lot more grip, okay? Then the tube will fit, here we go. I hope I don't make you dizzy tonight. Right here. And I'm gonna show you how we're gonna put the fabric in there. One other thing I do wanna talk about though, you see how I've got this big loop here on both of my arms? I do that because these have a lot of stability, but when they have the loop in, they have even more stability. And now I know Ken will tell you this, I need all the stability that I can get. But it does make it just a little bit stronger to leave a loop in if you can. This is tough stuff, though. I'm gonna tell you. To go ahead and move this wire is tough to do. Okay, I wanna move it back down a little bit. We have the top portion that goes onto that our fabric is being held by, I should say, is actually on a pivot, which is really cool. So here you see this little piece right here just clips on. There we go. And then it has the collar. The collar is going to screw right over that, and that's going to keep the hand intact with the arm. So this is kind of like our wrist, and it moves like our wrists do, probably more than my wrist today. Okay. So this is the way that I set my suspension system up when I have a quilt. If I have and the quilt that I've got today is going to be a lap size quilt. If I have a queen size quilt, I will come closer to the edge of my table to the left and to the back. And what I will do is I will put my suspension system right onto my table. Okay. I don't have a table that sets recessed in. My table stands up off of the my sewing table. Okay. I won't let Ken cut a hole in it. My dad made the table. So it's a family thing for me. So let's see where we are. Let me come back in here and say hello to a few people. Okay, we've got Norma Lovelace from Illinois. First time watching. Welcome, Norma. I hope it won't be your last. Linda, it is so good to see you. Evelyn, you too. Maureen is here from Kansas and Judy from Greenleaf, Wisconsin. Um, Linda says, I don't seem to get them to hold my quilt very well. That's why I got this. That's one of the reasons for this. I think this helps a lot. Okay. Maureen says you came up with great fixes. Well, thank you, Maureen. Joyce is here from California. Kathy says, good idea on the tape. I have some without the covering too, and she's going to try it. Jan says, glad to hear this tip. Jean's here from Mount Vernon. Hi, Jean. Okay. Do I have a suggestion on how to use these on a real thick table? The clamps don't open far enough. Maureen, I wish I could say yes. However, you could put them onto your Sew Steady extension table. Okay. So hopefully that'll help. They open pretty wide, and I am sure that there are tables that they don't work on, or that there are too the tables are too wide, and I'm sorry. I wish that I could tell you. Jean says she gets frustrated with it, and Zena's here is from Illinois, Zena. Okay. Jean, are you getting frustrated with the what are you getting frustrated with, Jean? I guess is the question I'm trying to ask. Okay, if you could let me know. Yeah, uh, these open quite a way, but I'm sure that there are tables that may be thicker than this or have a lip on them that are thicker than this. Let me see how far up I can take this, okay? Still working on it. Okay. Well, my goodness. I'm beginning to think this is a never-ending thing here. Okay, let me go ahead and get that. And so this is a pretty good size. There we go. So we should be able to go up this tall. Let's go ahead and measure that. So that's just shy of 3 inches. Okay. That it should fit into a table that's 3 inches or smaller, just shy of 3 inches, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one back onto my table here. Just hold on to it. There we go. And you don't have to over tighten them either. Okay. It's not necessary to do that. Okay. Do you have a name for that tape? They call it sport tape. That's, Jan, that's what I've you know, and you can just ask for it at the pharmacy. If you tell them it's self-sticking tape, I think that they'll know, but sport tape is usually the people who use it are athletes for taping up before games and the such. Yeah. Okay. Let's back up a little bit. Okay. Jean, okay, I asked Jean what she's frustrated with. She said the whole thing. Let's hope, Jean, after tonight that you won't be so frustrated. Regina said the rollers keep popping out of the clamp. Hopefully, I'm going to help you with that tonight. Maureen said she made a table out of a conference table, so it's really thick, and the machine sits down in it. So she's going to use clamps from the ceiling, and I have seen that done, and that works too. Definitely does. Regina uses a folding table next to her machine and clamps the arms to it. Great idea. I keep mine on the table at the rear all the time. Even when I'm not using it, helps to keep the quilt from falling off the back. Kathy, that is such a great idea. I really like that. Maureen's table is thick. That's 4 inches thick. That is big. That is a big table. Um, yeah, Joyce says she keeps hers too. Cindy is here. Good evening. They are shipping with tape. Yes, they are. Lois says she thinks that they're shipping with tape now, and they are. Okay. However, this is cheap if you want to pick up an extra one like this. It's not going to hurt anything, right? So when I do my clamps, and the bigger my quilt is, the more clamps I use The one that I'm going to need tonight is only really gonna need 2 clamps, and this is it. So let's go ahead and get it clamped up here. What I did was I went ahead and I glue basted this quilt together, and then what I did is I just stitched in the ditch around the border, okay? So, I did mark, here's the center of my quilt, right here. So, we're gonna start at the center. I want my left side of my quilt, and I know this isn't real easy to see. Let me see if I can, there we go. I want my left side of my quilt in my suspension system. So you'll see I just kind of plopped it over a little bit here. I put my clamp in, and then I hold my fabric around my clamp and then clamp them in. Okay? Now you want to make sure that you have the quilt kind of supported by the table. If it's not supported, it could fall out of the clamps. That does happen. It's happened to me, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. It has. And I'm going to come here. Now what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this center. And when I'm looking for this center, I'm seeing, do I have enough room? There we go. I want to make sure you see. Here's my center right here. So do I have enough room to get it under the needle without putting stress on this part of my quilt? And I don't. So I'm going to unclip this. I'm just going to move it up a little bit. Okay. I do like to kind of keep it straight or as straight as possible. And again, I'm going to put my fabric right around my clip like this and stick it in there. If we get too much fabric in here and we have this falling off of a table, the chances of it coming out are greater. Okay, so there we go. I'm just now pushing all this fabric up on the table. Remember last week I talked about puddling? This is puddling. Okay. Now I'm going to come up to my back clamp. And again, I'm just going to, can you see this? No. Okay, there we go. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and fold this under. I'm going to get my tube in there. You see, I keep this as smooth as I can. Okay, going to put that in there, and now that's holding. So now what we're going to look at, say hi, Ken, you're on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, he's funny, but looks aren't everything, right? Okay, get you guys straightened up again. Okay, let's take a look. Let's back up. Regina, her table doesn't have a lip to clamp to. Oh, I hate it when tables are like that. Um, Wilma says she finds her quilt doesn't stay in the clamps. If you keep this fabric smooth and you make sure, like I said, I've got that extra tape on there. And I always kind of make sure that my clamps are on as good as possible, then you should be good to go, okay? And you can always pick up some sport tape and use that as well. Linda. Oh, thank you, Linda. She loves the colors of the quilt. And Regina said, hi, Ken. Okay, so now back to it. I still need to bring this clamp in a little bit. So what I did was I just bend them over a little. That's it. So now you'll see they're not straight up in the air, they're more bent over, which is good. Whoops, now the camera just came loose, so you don't want to see that, right? Okay, so there we go. I'll get you back where we need to be, okay? So here's my clamps, there's my fabric, there is the center of my quilt, and I've got this part of my quilt up and out of the way, this part of my quilt towards the back. I want to show you what I mean. This part of the quilt here is towards the back. The part of the quilt that's closest to me, I have setting up on my table. Looks like a mess, doesn't it, guys? Oh, thank you, Cindy. I really appreciate that. Okay, so now everybody says, how can you get it? How can you do this big quilt with such a little machine? You know what? This is how I do it. This literally is how I do it. So I'm going to go ahead and start in the center or thereabouts because the way that I'm going to do this quilt is going to be very free form and I'm going to use our new connectors to boot. Okay. What I have done is I have pulled out every one of my Spin Effects 3.5 inch and 5.5 inch templates. I also have my curly cues out and I have my leaf template out. Here's the leaf template that I'm talking about. It's a Donna McCulley's. Um, I probably don't have to show you all of the other ones because we work with them so often. I do have my 8-point crosshair. And the reason being, and this is a 7.5 inch instead of a 5.5 inch crosshair. I'm sorry, Spin Effects 15. And the reason I'm just going to shut this off while I'm showing you this, I want to put this big in the center, and then I want to move out all the way around my quilt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my center or thereabouts. Remember, this is not something that I don't have to take and measure it down to the millimeter. When it is, this actually is going to be going on our table. So when it's on our table, nobody's going to be measuring it, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do an 8-point crosshair here. And come over here and come here. Did I do that one? Yep. Okay. And you all know that I really like to do the vertical and the horizontal center all the way through. So there we go. And there it is. There it is, ground zero, the center of my quilt. Now, let's see if we have any more questions. Cindy, I really appreciate your comment. I thank you so much. Barbara's here from Ontario. Who's that good looking man you see with me, Barbara? Well, that would be Ken, the king of emojis. That is my husband. Ken, wave hi to the gals. You're on.
Oh, hi. I thought you meant on the. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, sometimes it takes him a second. That's okay. Okay, Karen asks, besides the ditch along the border, is there also a horizontal across the center? No. Karen, there is nothing. The only thing I have done to stabilize this is I glue basted with homemade basting spray, and I ditched in around the border. And I think that some of you have heard this before, but not everyone has. That comes from Ann Peterson. Ann Peterson is called the obsessive quilter, and I was always told to quilt from the center out because I've been doing a lot of free motion for many years, and she said, no, you shouldn't do that. And I said, "Well, why not? Because if you go around your borders, then you're gonna end up with a big old poofy area in the center and all that." And she said, "Well," she said, "if you start at the center and keep, um, just smoothing your fabric out, this can make your fabric stretch. And what'll happen is you'll get wonky borders." She said, "If you go around that border, stitch in the ditch, and then do your inside work, the inside work is gonna take up that poofiness. So it's not a problem." So I started doing it that way, and you know what? She's right. I don't have wonky borders. So, yeah, no, I don't have this is just a line that I drew across here so that when I came in tonight, I'd know where my center was, but thank you for asking. Regina asks, "Kathy, if you're doing edge to edge, to start in the center or the top left, do I start in the center or the top left and move down?" Okay, if I'm doing an edge to edge, which basically this is, Regina, it's just gonna be a very free form. I would like to try and start near the center working up and center working down, okay? If this was a true edge to edge template where I was doing one after another, I would start in the center from the left to the right, then go from the right to the left. The reason we wanna do that is because it helps to take the slack up or the extra poofiness, and, it will keep that draw on that fabric more even, is what I'm trying to say. Making something complicated doesn't need to be, right? So, this one, I am doing kind of an edge to edge, but it's going to be as we work along with it. So, let's go ahead and you can see me get started. And I guess we don't need that, do we? And I'm just going to make some adjustments here. There we go. Go ahead and get my foot height set. I did not do that before. And I'm just going to get it. There we go. Okay. Now, something else I want you to notice. I normally use 80/20 batting, or you've seen me use 80/20 with a layer of wool on it, but you've never seen me use this before. What this is, I'm going to turn the light on so you can see it better. This is called thermoir batting. Thermoir batting is a polyester, it's a synthetic batting, but it's extremely thin and it's used mostly in clothing construction. It gives a beautiful drape. I am going to be using this as a table cover. So therefore, I don't want a thick batting. I want something really thin that I can set stuff on and not have fear of it tipping over. Okay, so that's why I'm using the thermoir on this. And Thermore batting has a batting rating of 9 inches, I believe it is. So you can go a long way between stitching your designs in. You can make them real loose if you so desire, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now the big question, how am I going to do a quilt like this in a size like this, right? And we talked last week, puddle. This is puddling. We're going to keep everything up. We're not going to let it slip under the edge of the table and get caught here. Okay? So I'm going to make sure that that's all nice and loose, easy to see, easy to work with. Okay, let's see where we're at. Rita. Oh no, you got your time wrong. Hey, I do it all the time, Rita, and we just changed our times over here in the US too, which is sad but true. Carla Jean asks, where do you find the batting? Please smell it out. Okay, I will. It is called Thermore batting. It comes in queen size and small size for clothing. Any quilt shop should carry it. If you don't have it, if you cannot find at your local quilt shop, you can get it on Amazon. Please check your quilt shops first. There we go. It's Thermore batting. And yeah, it's really nice. It really is for table runners, for things like that. Now, my husband does not like the heaviness of a quilt. So the Thermore batting is a perfect choice when making a quilt that we're going to be using on our bed because it's nice and light. Thank you, Evelyn. Connecting Threads does carry it. That's good to know. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. And I'm knocking my mouth or my microphone here. I ended up with a new headset. And it's just a little bit of getting used to. Remember, when we're doing this, we want to take our time. We get up to the top like this, we're going to take one extra stitch. And down we're going to come. Now, my fabric and stuff doesn't look pretty right now. But you know what? That's okay. It doesn't have to look pretty. It's going to look pretty when we're done quilting it. That's when we care about how it's going to look, right? And what's nice, when I'm quilting right now, I have no more drag than if I was doing a small block. And that's what's lovely about this.
Did you get the spelling of Thermore correct?
Yeah, Thermore. That is the way it's spelled, Jan. I can double check it, but I'm pretty confident. Yep, it is. Actually, what I'll do here, I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try.
And the link.
Okay, I'm sorry. I tried to get a picture of it here, but I can't. It won't let me take a picture of it. It's made by Hobbs, and the small size is 54 inches by 45 inches. And the small one has a real pretty lady's coat on there, and the larger one is a queen size. Regina, the drag is the main issue here, correct? You're absolutely right. Actually, it's the main issue with almost everything we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the opposite side. What I want you to see, this is important. I can't get, when I put my template down, do you see how my arm is moving? My sew steady arm? I don't want that to be moving. What I want is I want to make sure that I've got enough of the slack of the quilt so that I don't have to be pushing or pulling on that arm. And there we go. Now I've got plenty of room in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch it. And I know that I've talked about this before. And what you're going to notice is I'm not switching the fabric at this point to make it easier for you to see, although I would like to. This is the reality of it. When we are working on a big quilt, we do not want to be turning the quilt around with every rotation of our template. Oh, can't see. Thank you, Ken. Yeah, we're all over the place tonight, aren't we? Thank you, Jan. Okay, so here we go. This is why it is important to learn how to stitch these templates in each direction. Okay. Now you guys know I'm a slow sewer, quilter. Ken will tell you I do everything slow, which sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But the bottom line is we need to take our time and do it correctly. And I'm coming right back down to the center. There we go, right in that center. Now I'm going to move my template to the left side. It doesn't matter which side I go, left or right. What's important is that you see that I have no drag on my quilt. I'm not fighting this at all. It's working beautifully for me. I have a 7-inch throat. And what I want you to see is I'm not running into it. I've got no problems at all doing this. And I really should have had my needle down when I did that. I'm sorry. And my foot just popped up. Okay, we're going to just set that back down. There we go. I'm not pulling. I've got no drag on here. It's just working beautiful. Keep your hands in a comfortable position. Don't forget going over these hills and valleys. You want to be careful. You don't want to fall off of a mountain. There we go. And now I'm going to move it in the other direction. Again, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm flat. This right now is the only area that I care about being flat, from here to here. The rest of it doesn't matter. It really just doesn't matter because we're not stitching anywhere but inside here. Okay, so here we go. And round And I think just for the sake of time, I'm not gonna do all 8 rotations right now, just not a problem. I'll finish the other 4 rotations in the morning, as we are going to go over this again tomorrow. I normally don't do the same thing 2 days in a row, but I think this is important. Okay, there we go. I have got 4 beautiful rotations in there. There we go, in with purple thread. Okay, it's easier let's see, is it easier to see with the light or without it? There we go. So you can see my design in there. Beautiful, no problem. What I'm going to do next, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna travel a little way. And the reason I'm gonna travel is because I want actually, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this off. Okay, and I will bury that thread later. The beginning thread can be cut off because it's well tied in when we're doing spin effects. Okay, there we go. Can you see that well? I like it. I think it's a great centerpiece. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to come off of here. And all I need to do is find, I put them out here so I wouldn't lose them, guys. Okay. Oh, there they are. Yep, I did not lose them. They're right here. Okay, here is our new connectors. Okay, they're called meander. Oh, no, they changed the name. Edge to edge connector. Here I've been calling them meander squiggles all the time because that's what the original name was. So here's our edge to edge connector. We can also use our 12-inch arc to connect things. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and start stitching out away from the center motif.
You aren't using your tack, right?
No,
Jan.
no, no tacks. No, not in here. If I'm not careful and I don't behave myself, Ken might put one on my chair. But okay, Linda asks, okay, let's back up. Out of center. Oh, Jan, thank you. Yeah. Did you cut your bobbin thread? Linda, yes, I did. I just reached my hand under there and stealthily cut it so that nobody saw it. But yes, I did do it. Thank you for asking. Because I've been known to forget, haven't I? You aren't using the tack. No, I am not. No. I'm all of these spin effects that I'm using, I will be using regular. Okay. I'm sorry, I need to take a little drink there. I told you I was kind of nervous tonight, so I got my bottle of basting spray. Just kidding. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick the thread up off of one of these petals here. And this is purple thread. It's just very light purple. Okay, put that foot back down and get that needle back in there. Want to make sure you guys are good job. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to start heading towards the right. I did put stable tape on both sides too, by the way, because I know somebody's going to want that answer. Take my first stitch in place. Keep my stitches nice and short. This is so beautiful. This suspension system has got it so I'm not dragging anything at any time, and my shoulders are not getting sore. Okay. Well, I got caught up here. What did I do? Okay. I am going to make this quilting a little bit on the, dense side, okay? And I'm just gonna go ahead whoops, wrong way, Corrigan. Sorry, Deb, I know you smile every time I say that, right? Okay, so here we go with one of my leaves. Take that extra stitch on the top, go here, and close it up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a little bigger leaf right next to it. Get those out of the way. There we go.
Did smile.
She did smile. Deb knows what I'm talking about. Okay, now here goes a little bigger leaf on the side. You'll see I have absolutely zero drag here. My suspension arms are working without a hitch. Okay, come back up here. I don't know about the operator, but I know the equipment is working great tonight. Okay, and I'm gonna just come on up. Oh, which one am I gonna use? I think I'll use this one. And I think I'll use it in this direction. If I come up here, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do this in this direction. Here we go. Coming into here, and I think this is the one that I can make if I take it out and turn it around, and I'm gonna have it go in that direction. I'm trying to stay within 3 of these stripes, and I'll go over them and under them at certain times, but this is the way that I feel most comfortable nesting the designs in, okay? And I'm gonna stop right here. And there's my loop. Oh, good, you guys can see that. Okay, so I've got a couple leaves here. So now I am going to take my Spinifex 8, and this is my 3.5 inch. And I am not going to use, I'm not going to use my 8-point crosshair. Okay, I am going to use, I'm going to use my 12 rotation bob, little rotation bobs. Okay, and watch what happens when I do that. I can go ahead and go in 1, 2, 3, and there. I've got 6 points in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this. Again, this is not necessary. You can just put the little dot in here, but I don't know, it's just something about it. It's something about me. I just keep putting those in there. Okay, so with
Linda Shell says she's never seen those bobs.
you wanna know something? I just got them, and I love them. Jan, I did not draw this out. I am winging it, okay? There are 2 bobs here. One is 12 rotations. Let me get a little piece of black paper here so you can see it better. This is 12 rotations, and this is 16 rotations. And this is exactly what these bobs are made for, is little places like this that we don't want to try and get an 8-point crosshair ruler in. Even the small one, you'll see I can't get it over here where I want it. So that's why these bobs are perfect. They get us into those little tiny places that we want to get into. Okay, so there's my commercial for the day. It's $14 US, 17.50 Canada. I'm sorry, Canadians. That's just not fair, but it is the way of the world, I've heard. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to just come in to the center of this template or into the center of where I am going to start my flower. Take my spacing gauge. There we go. And using my edge to edge connector, you can't hardly tell where one stopped and the other one began. Isn't that cool? I love these things. I really do. Okay, so here what I've got is a 3.5-inch Spinifex 8. And around it's gonna go.
You need a leaf and a bob.
Leave it to Bob. Yeah. Yeah, these things are really cool. I don't know if anybody really uses them often or shows them often, but I thought to myself, when I saw them, I thought, yeah, this is exactly what I need for this project. So here we go. Remember, we've got some small areas here that we're going to be using curves. So we want to keep those stitches just a little shorter. And I'm not the least bit concerned if that stem shows through my stitching on my Spinifex number 8 here. It's okay with me. Because as we all know, flowers can sometimes have the stems in front of them, not always behind them, right? Whoops, came right off of the template there, I did. I think I saved it, but we'll just never tell. There we go. Ken says it's good, so if he says it's good, it's good. And just a couple more here. And like I said, this is totally improv, guys. I have not done any figuring out or measurements or anything else. The only thing I measured was the center of the quilt. I wanted to know exactly where the center was so that I could start at the center and work out in all 4 directions.
So she's had them for ages, never know been shown how to use them.
Really? Oh, now you know, Charlene. Great. Okay. And this is totally improv. And what I will do because of this, because it's going so well, I will go ahead and I will finish one quadrant. Then I will go ahead and I will take everything off of the suspension system. I will move it around and then do the next quadrant. And there we go. So now what we can do, I'm going to go ahead and travel. You don't need to travel. You can, if you wish, go ahead and actually break thread or not. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to have a of leaf come out of this side of this template. Okay. And it's not going to be the whole leaf. It's just going to be a part of the leaf. Here we go. This is where you get to be fun. You get to be your own creator. And I'm gonna stop there and take this out. So now you can see
Just peeking.
it's just peeking out there, yep. And let me and Linda, I'm cutting my bobbin thread. Oh, Sylvia, no problem. We don't keep attendance here. But yes, it will be recorded so you can come back and see it later. Okay, so there you'll see. Now I could come back and come up here and do another flower or anything that I want. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see flowers or do you want to see a cluster of leaves? Oh, I've got one even better. I got one even better, guys. Let's do a heart, okay? Everybody loves hearts. Now, the other thing I love about this is you could come right on the outside of these too. You don't have to just go on the inside. And the other thing I really want to show you tonight, and I'm going to show you now simply because time is starting to get short already. I don't understand where this time goes. It's so fast. This hour of the day goes by too quickly for me. I need to talk to Stacy about spending more time with y'all because there's so much more to do. Okay. So, 12-inch arc. How do we make a two-way line with a 12-inch arc? Good question. I'm going to show you, okay? Okay, here we go. I'm going to come up this way. Oh, I am so sorry. I gotta get there we go. Maybe that'll be better. You can still hear me, right? Okay. And take that first stitch in place, and I'm gonna start heading off here. Okay? I'm not gonna go too far either. Don't need to. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back and come the other way. And there we go. That worked out kind of cool, I think. Okay. So let's do this. I want to make sure I've got enough room, make sure the way I want to go, the direction's got to be right. And let's just go like this. We're going to do an upside down heart. What do you think of that? Remember, we want to keep these stitches nice and short. There we go. I'm going to turn it around, line it up correctly. There we go. Put a little heart in there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come out and go in this direction, okay? And I'm gonna do that with this. Off we go. And I'm ready to put another flower in there, or I could put a leaf cluster in there. Now, reminder. Okay, let's check up. Let me go ahead and okay. Carla Jean asks, "Can you tell me the leaf template you used?" Yes, I can. I use the DM Quilting Leaf 1 template. Has 3 nice sizes on, and you can mix and match. It's really my favorite leaves. Okay. Um, Okay, Ken said something. I was reading going, what's that? Okay, Regina says, thank you so much for doing this demo for us. Oh, you're so welcome. I like to do what you guys want. I'll try working on my Quillo again. Good job, Regina. You keep me posted too. Please do. Oh, Karen, thank you. How do I get that edge to edge template in the DM? Okay. What you can do is you can go to sewsteady.com and you can go ahead and shop on their templates, and they have them there for you, and they get shipped directly to your house. That is the best way to do it, Karen. So I think that's about all we've got time for tonight. Like I said, I wish we had more time because I could just keep working on this. I'm loving it. But now the big job comes, okay? Burying all these threads. How many of you need a refresher on burying threads? I find I do often.
Oh, look at Gene says.
Jean says Stacy should let me work another hour. I'm an expert salesperson without even knowing it. I had no idea. Thank you, Jean. Jeannie says she'll watch it again. Awesome. Well, I am going to be back here in the morning. Let's take a look, though, right now. I'm going to get you in nice and close on this one. I want to show you just a little refresher on burying your threads. Okay, there we go. What we've got. When we start, we always bring our bobbin thread up, correct? So we have our top thread and our bobbin thread, and all I'm going to do is make a loop, just an overhand loop. I like to put my needle in there. I keep my needle about an eighth or a 16th of an inch off the top of the quilt because this is where I want my knot to be, right here. I do not want my knot set right down on that quilt because if I do, I cannot bury it. Then I'm going to take my self-threading needle, and I know there's controversy over which type you get. You get the one that you like, okay? I use the one that pops in from the top. That's just me. Now I'm going to put my hand under the quilt so that when I put this needle in, can you see that? Okay. When I put this needle in, I'm not putting it through the backing fabric. I'm just putting it into the batting. Okay. Bring it out. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way here. And then what's going to, you'll see that that knot is now on top of the fabric, right? There it is. Now it's in the batting and no one will know that you have a knot in there. It's that easy. If you are ever doing quilts for competition, that's the only way they will be accepted. Okay. If you don't like burying your threads and for your own home quilts, a lot of people don't, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You can use micro stitches, do 4 or 5 little teeny tiny stitches. You can see where I don't bury the beginning thread on a spinifex, and the reason being is there is so much stitching going on in here. Those beginning stitches are being locked in. So we are good with that. Okay, so let's see what else. Um, Rita ordered the bobs. Okay. Good job, Rita. You won't be sorry. You really won't be sorry. Stacy should let me work longer, huh? Thanks, Deb.
For free.
For free, right. Linda ordered them too. Good job, guys. Oh, that's awesome. I know my morning is too early for you, Linda. I'm sorry, but it will be recorded. So, um, Jan has a degree in berrying. Well, Jan, come on over and you can show us how to do it. That'd be great. But I think oh, thank you so much. Debbie ordered them too, huh? Oh, thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. You guys are all so good to me. You really do. You make my heart smile. I love being here on Tuesday nights with you and again on Wednesday mornings for those of you who can make it. And of course, there's a few who can't make it on Tuesday who I do see on Wednesday. So as long as I'm able, we're going to just keep doing this, all right? And I think that Stacy has something in mind for me next year, so you might be seeing me even for 3 lives a week instead of 2. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. I always forget to say that, don't I? And until we meet again, let's quilt.